Do not buy a lake house in Michigan until you watch this. The views, the fishing, the boating, the sand between your toes. It seems like a dream, right? So before you get too excited, let's hang on and let's go through some of these things that you might not, if you've never lived on a lake, that you might not have known. So I personally lived on over 4 lakes. Some were sports, non-sports, and we're gonna go through all the different options. When I talk about an all-sports lake, that means you can have gas-powered boats or jet skis, where a non-sports lake means you can't have any gasoline-powered boats or jet skis, but you can have electric boats, so that's a compromise there. So first, let's talk about lake frontage. So you probably imagined a sandy beach area in front of your house. But let's be serious here, it's Michigan. A lot of the beaches are not beaches, they're full of rocks, there's mucky water, so all kinds of things you gotta look out for. Also, another thing you have to worry about in Michigan is erosion. Your beach or your property can easily erode, so you wanna make sure that particular lakefront property has some type of pilings or seawall. So let's talk about everybody's not so favorite subject is septic systems. Living on lakes, they don't always have city water and sewer, so you might have a septic system. Having a septic system means every 1 or 2 years you need to pump it out and maintain it, and it could get stinky, but it's not that big a deal in the long run. So let's talk about the water. A lot of lakefront homes will have wells, and they're easy to maintain if you have a good water treatment system or a good water company. A lot of the lakefront houses will not have city water because it's too far off the beaten path, and the cities haven't gotten into those homes yet. One of the biggest things about well waters is you want to maintain the water treatment or softener, so a lot of times the iron in the water will cause crazy things to women's hair, so you might want to look out for that. Next thing we want to talk about is property taxes. Typically, homes on lakefronts with lake frontage will be valued more by the city than the houses across the street from the lake. So either way, those taxes will be high. Michigan lakefront homes can be a really great value and appreciation. They're not making any more lakes, so there's a less number of homes, so the values will go up. But when the market's hot, everybody wants to be on the lake, so the prices go up. But when the market's not so hot, that's not the case. The next thing we want to talk about is beach frontage. Not every lakefront house has a beach. The first thing I do is go out and look at the frontage and the water to see if there's actually a sandy beach, or is there a mucky where you'll sink when you step in it, or is it shallow with a lot of weeds? If it's shallow, those weeds will grow and you'll never get rid of them. The next thing we want to talk about is docks. On inland lakes, you can put your own dock that can stay in seasonally. You usually should pull them out in the winter because it will freeze. With those docks, you'll be able to go out further if it's very shallow, or be able to bring your boat in. Usually in the springtime, you get those docks in, and if you have a lot of friends, it's a great time to bring them over to help you do that. And even boat lifts, because you don't want your boat floating around all summer long. It'd be great to put a lift in and pull it out of the water. And don't forget, coming wintertime, you got to pull those docks and those lifts out, or on Michigan winters, it freezes and it'll just bust up those docks, which aren't inexpensive. So the next thing we want to talk about, those summer crowds. Some inland lakes have a lot of people on them on the weekend. You will never be able to get out there and enjoy it because you've got people racing around. But if it's a private lake, all sports, they control the number of boats that are allowed to only the people that live in the area, so you have a lot better time getting on the water. But if it's a lake that has public access, you'll probably want to go in early in the morning or late in the evening when all the dockers or the ones that drop their boats in leave for the night. You want to make sure whichever lake you pick that you check it out during a busy weekend to see if it's quiet. If you're expecting a quiet lake, it might not be so quiet when you've got those jet skis racing around. It can be really annoying, and it's going to be tough to do water skiing or do anything with pulling people in the back or tubing. So check that lake out. Some are real quiet. Most of the private all sports are quiet, but the public access one, especially in Oakland County, Cass Lake is a big one, or Orchard Lake has a limited number of slips that they allow boats in. So it depends on the lake, but you want to keep trying if you're thinking of buying that lakefront house and having peace and quiet. So the next thing we want to talk about, some of these lakes are very remote. You have to drive around a little bit to get to civilization or to the grocery store. So you want to make sure you find a lake that's not so remote. A lot of the ones in Oakland County are pretty close to things, but it will definitely take you longer to get to work. A lot of the roads around the lakes are 2-lane, so if it gets jammed up with people leaving in the morning or coming back from work, it's going to take you a little bit longer to snake around those lakes. I've lived on many lakes, you can easily add a 30-minute commute to wherever you're going, depending on where that lake is, dealing with that lakefront traffic. So the next thing we want to talk about is neighbors. It's not always the people neighbors. You might have geese, you may have snakes, you may have a lot of different things that you want to watch out for while living on a lake. I can remember living on Elizabeth Lake, and I bought a special rake because those geese made a mess on my beach, and my kids did not want to go out there when all that geese poop was on the beach. So before you take that plunge buying a house on a lake, you want to make sure you review some of these topics we talked about so you make the right choice. So when you're ready to start looking for a lakefront home, you want to work with an agent that has the experience of actually living on a lake. They can tell you which lakes are good or bad and all these things that we discussed, everything from beachfront property, mucky water, sandy beach, seawalls, high property taxes, commute time. All that is you want to work with a person with a lot of experience that's done that before. Thank you for watching, and remember, if you're looking to buy or sell in the next 9 to 90 days, let's connect. Subscribe to my channel to learn all about Southeast Michigan real estate, or give us a call, email, or drop me a message and I'll get back to you to answer all your questions. See you on the next one.